It's my pleasure to really give us, everyone to share the journey we come here and why we're doing this and what we have been doing and how we can make international cross-border DTC wine really work for over 200 winery clients. So next slide, please. So let's talk about why. Why I like always looking at the more fundamental, more micro. It's not personal to Glen Eagle anyone, but it's looking at the entire ecosystem. So even before COVID, in the United States, about $71 billion wine market, and 3 billion of that is DTC. Now, 2022, by sold data, about 4.2 billion. You can tell over the last 3 years, 40% increase. Then we're looking global, it's much bigger. Right now, we're looking at wine industry back before COVID, about 320 billion. Now the worth more than $400 billion together. If you take the magic asset test, it's a number, international to domestic USA, about 4-1. So we use that, we're looking at the entire pre-COVID DTC market for global is about $12 billion. Now it's about 18 billion. So even though we're looking at domestically in the United States, we are the leader in this, in terms of economical market size and technological advancement, but global is really the much bigger thing. It's over there, it's in the background. So next slide, please. And also, let's look about wine industry in a much historical context. There's two magic dates. So first magic dates is more, definitely more comical, a better one. 1976. That's when U.S. won called the Judgment Paris, is a blind taste. So before 1976, winery in Napa in California are really agriculture based. There's no brands, table wine. Since 1976, they were able to establish a brand for themselves and for international that Napa wine are as good, if not better, than the best of best old world. So that's a defining moment. From 1976, 2020, when COVID happened, so all the time when we see, when Glen Eagle come to the market around 2015, we witnessed really, the top wine we're talking about, ultra premium wineries, they're really a hospitality business. Not only they make wine, but really presentation of wine when during the summertime, drove the people come from over the world come to see the winery. They want to become a member, loyalty, and they wanted to buy wine. That really not just agriculture business, but it's a brand, a hospitality business. Suddenly, in 2020, the defining moment. I remember from February to April 2020, entire thing shut down, right? So there's no traveling. Even more so for international. But actually, we saw a 40% increase in DTC. That's all cross-border. So the loyalty that have winery been built to order wine, they actually call people or email out of their concierge in the winery started happening. So, but we can tell that from hospitality, you go there, now become fully digital. That's the exciting part. If even history have any indication, we know it's not going to take a long time because wine is a agriculture business. So we're at the beginning of this much longer couple of decades of change. So that's where we are. Next slide, please. You were a little too fast.
It jumped back. It was delayed, and then I was there.
Perfect. Okay, good. Thank you, Josh. So let's talk about what and who does what. The number of the presentation before, I really talk about how you build relationship with customers and how do you do this. But let me take it for a more bigger context. It's when you sell wine, not only to US or anywhere, just what happens. Step one is something transaction happened. Just imagine that someone likes the wine and they buy. Right now, we're really looking for to having e-commerce engine become that transaction place. And the one that happens, I pay. Then the number of things had to happen to get there. That is a very not sexy business, but it's become such a critical part. That's what differentiates from DTC to someone drive into a store, because get that problem, you solve yourself. But now, instead of getting your wine yourself, you want someone delivered to you. The get there problem because it's a very important three activities. Number one, compliance. Second, fulfillment. Third, logistics. The two paths, US domestically or international. And Glen Eagle cares only international. That's the blue path. Where our joke is that we don't care, probably get a wine to Boston, Alabama, but we only care from here to Japan or to Hong Kong or China or even Germany. So actual mechanics is exactly the same. The compliance done by ship compliant. On the domestic side, we do for all 35 destination countries. Okay, we do it. So the second part is fulfillment. We also take the wine, actually we pack very specifically, because the wine, again, it is very easily breakable in international commerce. So we had to make sure that we can take it right now. In the future, whether someone else can take it, but right now we do both. Then we only work with FedEx right now, because FedEx has a very strong presence in alcoholic, especially globally. That's what they do really well, especially they own their plants. So we've been very grateful to see, since the pandemic, when we see so much disruption in global supply chain, and FedEx has been a very strong partner. There's no drama from their end because they own their plants. Okay, so next slide, please.
Can I do it again? I hit it, it delays, I get anxious, and then I press it, but we can talk about that later.
Josh, we've been in business for some years. I have a patience on my virtues. So I want to be want to do help problem, how to be very practical. I talk about much bigger, in the market size and also historical context. But when you look at the practical matter, is I also remind myself that I'm in the agriculture business. People don't like you because you're cute. They like you when you solve real problems. The first problem we can solve is this. If someone, give you an example, if someone, let's say Joe, come from Japan, go to the winery and say, I want to buy a wine, a case wine. Can you get home? Just imagine 7 years ago, they don't know how to do it. The staff doesn't know how to do it. They had to, well, we will love it to sell the wine, probably the $1,500 ticket for us. But we don't know how to get there. They have a paper base, they can look up tables, and maybe this country works, how much we charge you. That's what happened. Until company before they failed, because there's really never build a compelling case. So what the first thing we had to solve last 6 years is really to make all the paper go away, become one app. So now if Joe or Mary come from, talk to wineries, I want to buy a case of wine. All the winery have to do is our application. Then they can say, yes, okay, we can do it. The confidence exudes from that doing that, enable the deal to happen. Okay, so that's what we say over and over again. Very practical matter to say yes. Josh.
Yeah, so the app that we're looking on the right, that's something that the winery would open up, not the customer. The winery opens this up and then they can fulfill. Awesome.
You're absolutely right. So again, let me just go back and just reiterate. Our clients, Glen Eagle clients, not just Joe in other countries, but our clients are ultra premium winery clients. So that's what their business. We enable them to make a deal happen with end consumer. So given all the tools they can use on the front line with their staff, they say, yes, I can get there. Help the winery make sense.
Okay, so obviously there's, just in case I don't know if I'm jumping ahead with your slides, but you've got two solutions essentially. If you have somebody from another country standing in your winery and you want to fulfill an order cross-border, you open up the app and you do that. If you have somebody going to your website, depending on the platform, but most of them you pretty much cover, at the point of checkout, the consumer can also engage, and you as the merchant can facilitate that already integrated.
So let's be very specific about this. Is we talk about entry point. We're talking about physical. I just said historical context is that Joe walked in the winery, right? Doesn't matter what POS is used. This enabled them to say yes. When we're looking at the future, more wineries are using e-commerce based. The entry point will be virtual from anywhere, right? And then the winery using e-commerce platform be able to make the product, make the deal happen. Then Glen Eagle will take over from there and get their problem. Okay, so let's go to the second problem. Let's get there. So just imagine that either whether it's a physical interaction or a virtual interaction saying, I want to buy the wine. The second problem, how can you get there without the drama? Literally 7 years ago when we first came, it's so much drama. People say, yes, they want to make a deal. And then one is stuck in customs in destination countries for maybe 1 to 2 months, 3 months, because all the bad paperwork. Just imagine that if we don't do things right, how can you ensure the moment we say yes, we can deliver, the whole thing really works without the drama? That enables that customer become a loyal customer to the wineries. That's what we saw from a very systematic process. We call 5 steps, literally from a very non-sexy box. If our grandma can do it, put a bottle of wine into a box and ship it. Then to really a systematic process, ensure the whole process is very non-drama. So first it's called digital compliance. We have to know, wait, we can actually deliver this to Japan. It's extremely easy. That's probably easier than to Japan than to Boston. On the difficult scale to Canada, it's extremely difficult to get to Canada because every province has rules, right? So we have to say yes. When we say yes, there's something that happened. We have to come to say yes. Second, we put on the FedEx by air. We'll only do by air, no boats. It's had to be, so the speed of that is really fast. To ship from Napa to Japan or Hong Kong can be delivered within 48 hours by air. That's actually a lot faster, typically from Napa to New York. The third is full insurance. We designed it for our moms. It's one that when we say yes, we don't want to have, well, no, just this when something happens, we can cover you. And also the last one is our innovation. Because when you go to another country, every country have rules to adjust the taxes assessed. Just you imagine Joe bought wine in Japan. Not only then, he got a call from customs saying, you owe me this money. This is not a pleasant experience for anyone. We don't want to get called by government saying, well, we know you bought the wine and here you owe us a bill. So we actually engineered that once we say yes, that we actually prepay the duties on behalf of the recipient. So the whole thing is almost, you just receive one. So we have one price, include everything, so then it will be delivered to them. With caveat, Canada we can't do it because Canada doesn't allow us to pay duties. So that's become the biggest barrier from here to Canada. The last part is also our innovation. Is every bottle of wine is tracked individually. That's really go back to my experience in technology and also in retail. Is I have that level of accountability. It's very important. So that's become our line draw on the ground, saying anything goes through Glen Eagle has to be tracked individually. So the whole thing become a process.
Sorry, I want to talk about that in a second, but.
And then you go ahead.
Well, again, just to call this out, everybody, I mean, first of all, what Jack's describing is he lives in this space every step of the way, making it not only easy to comply, easy to get cleared customs fast, and it arrives faster than really anyone. Part of what I understand he's saying, Jack, correct me when I'm wrong, but part of what I'm saying is he also will get that information through customs before the product even lands, therefore really cutting down on that delivery time. In addition, the idea of tracking each bottle, what he's saying, just in case it wasn't clear, is it's not every SKU has a unique QR code or a unique tracking. It's every individual bottle, every individual unit, which is particularly interesting. I think there's a couple of use cases I know of. We used to do that with counterfeit wine when I used to live in China, and a lot of wineries were concerned that somebody would take the bottle and reuse it. We used to go out after we had a really nice evening dinner and we'd crack the bottles so that no one could reuse them. The QR code obviously allows somebody to see, has it gone, how many places has it gone and when before it arrived at me, right?
I mean, Josh, you know, people probably could tell we know each other for a long time. So I don't have to do a lot of selling. You're doing it for me. Thank you. But if I do just go a little deeper on this, what doesn't matter is that we are a technology company. We also feel what's the future. That's why I have a cultural context. For the non-sexy business get their problem, logistical, we see again, the world moving to individual traceability because accountability is just unparalleled. So we're the leader in this space. And So you just imagine 2015, we come to Napa, no one used QR code, things are dead. And now everyone uses QR code. The joke is, we said, look, we never left. We're the one showing you the QR code 2015.
Yeah.
Now it's here. Okay. So let's go to the next one. It's really about benefits. Let's go, what happened, when we talk about benefits, did it really gel with the agricultural business like wine? Do we have, the reality is, I like you the numbers and look, it happened. That will show the results. So we have about 700 certified winery brands. The context is about in California or West Coast, they're about ultra premium wineries. We only deal with the high-end wines. So about 800 ultra premium winery in California. So a majority of them actually use us one way or another. They know us. Now we're able to start with China, which is the harder thing, back 2015. Now we're open up to 34 countries, 25 are the primary. Rest of them actually can get to there. So we, all of 700 winery brands, we call 200 our ultra premium wine clients because they have much more active engagement. They actually been trained to use our software. I think it's a massive amount of work being put in place a few years to get that, to train the staff. In the industry, actually, no, Glen Eagle, okay, you can get there. And we typically deliver from 3 to 9 days. That is also unparalleled in industry. The last one is very important. It's basically 99.83% delivery success rate. That means every 1,000 wine, we have just about 1 bottle break. That's by far the best in the industry, not only for international, but for domestic as well. Again, that's an engineering mindset about taking the very back the room, no one will take care of the kind of process, become a very technology driven and not engineering driven for quality. Mm-hmm. And also for financially, why does it matter for winery to do international? Because actually we proved the market exists. Because before, for the last few years, since 2000, and so last 6.5 years, total export value $40 million. Especially during COVID, we probably delivered over $8 million, I would say between $5 to $8 million of wine just since 2020. So that, especially the times winery need the sales, that become really a bloodline for them. An average order size for an international cross-border sale is about $1,500. That is far more than a typical order in the United States. So there's a lot of upside. Okay, so that's why we're very passionate about this. Not because it just looks good, but something that should gel together with the industry. So 3 takeaways. Why do you do it? 4 times market potential with $1,500 average order size. The second is actually very easy. We make hosting very easy. If not easier, to sell delivered to Turkey as to Boston. The how part is Glen Eagle is we call the mastery. It's everything technology driven and simple and no drama. When we say yes, you'll get done.
Jack, this is awesome. Thank you. If you have questions, obviously ping us. But if you are thinking of going global, talk to Jack. I obviously, as Jack said, I know him for a long time. He is one of those people who will put 0.83 in his percentage breakdown of accuracy, and he will be there making sure that the packages are all packed much better than if you just pass it off to FedEx. They actually have their own packaging. It's really he does a great job. And again, shout out to global expansion.